Yeah, we gotta talk about that. So, round about 9 months ago or so, the Doctor Who episode, The Timeless Children, dropped, answering the question that had been built up across Series 12, who or what is the Timeless Child? The answer got a, let's go with mixed reception. I personally hated it, and not for the reason that a lot of other people hate it. Like, look, there's many reasons to hate The Timeless Children, and there are reasons to like it. I've seen arguments that I'm like, I don't agree, but I do understand how you got there. So, like, I don't like it. If you like it, that's fine. If you dislike it for a reason other than me, that's fine. But just to recap, my problem with The Timeless Child is not the fact that it messes with canon. I mean, honestly, Doctor Who's canon is so freaking loose and nebulous anyways, I don't really care so much. I think, honestly, that's a benefit of the show. I think it's actually really hard to break canon in a truly significant way, just because there's so much that is not firmly established, and the show's better for it. So, I don't really care about I'm not a lore hound. I don't really care about that. I don't even really hate it for the whole idea of pre-Hartnell doctors. I don't like that, but I don't hate it either. Ultimately, that's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay. It doesn't really fundamentally change the nature of the Doctor, especially given that by every indication, any regenerations pre-Hartnell have been wiped from memory. So the Doctor's still allowed to be, who they were at that time. It's not like Hartnell is now no longer the first Doctor. As far as he was concerned at the time, he was the first. So, like, I can even get over that. Now, the reason I hated this is because it makes the Doctor too damn important. I've talked in other videos, I really, really, really don't like the Doctor being super important. The Doctor should be important to the stories, to the companions. The Doctor should not be universally important. The Doctor shouldn't even really be important to the Time Lords. At most, the Doctor should be a nuisance. The Doctor should not be mythical or fabled among the Time Lords. The Doctor sure as heck should not be this massive mythical figure across all of time and space. And the Doctor definitely shouldn't be the entire reason that Time Lords can even regenerate. It makes the Doctor so important. And I hate that. Like, I hate chosen one narratives. I hate, this person is the most significant or the absolute best at bleh, or whatever. I hate that. It's not even that it's boring. It's like I just completely disengage from it. I love the Doctor when the Doctor is just stumbling on, doing their thing, and helps when they see people in trouble. That, to me, is the Doctor. And, like, to be fair, this instance and the whole thing with The Timeless Child is far from the first time that the show, mainly in New Who, has made the Doctor really important. They did it with the Doctor's place in the Time War. He was the one who ended the whole thing and wiped out both races. He thought, turned out he didn't, that the Doctor saved all of Gallifrey. And I'm like, yeah, okay. The banking on his reputation, which he did as Tennant and he did as Smith, and freaking resurrected by people's faith in him like he was Jesus at the end of Series 3. I don't like any of that. And The Timeless Child is the most egregious example I can think of making the Doctor the most important thing. And I do not like it. I didn't like it when it aired. I still don't like it now. Almost a year later, I still hate this. I also don't think they should retcon it. This has more to do with my philosophical notions about when you should even be employing retcons in the first place than it does with how much I dislike this specific thing. Because, as I think I've illustrated, I really don't like this. I really, 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 really don't like it. Literally, if the Timeless Child had been anyone else, literally any other entity in the freaking Hooniverse, I would not be upset the way I'm upset about the fact that it's the Doctor. So, clearly, I hate this. Why don't I want it undone? Well, because I don't want the show to spend any more time on it than is absolutely necessary. That's one of the things about retcons. A retcon, and again, if you are a real canon hound, if you're really deep into the lore and you want everything to be consistent, you probably are going to be more in favor of retcons than I am. Because in that case, a retcon cleans things up. It makes some corrections. It smooths things over. It removes stuff that was problematic. Me, I don't care. I want new stories. That's what I come to any long-running medium for, whether it is comic books, whether it is a show like Doctor Who, whatever it may be. I want things to move forward. By its very nature, retconning is looking back. Even if it's looking back to fix something, all you're doing, as far as I'm concerned, is drawing more attention to it. Now, I expect that Chris Chibnall is going to do whatever it is he thinks he can do or wants to do with the whole idea of the Timeless Child. Who knows what that'll be? Maybe I'll even like it. I'm not expecting to, but hey, who knows? But once that's done, I don't want to hear about the Timeless Child again. And retconning it, all that does is bring it back up. It just brings up the pain again. And it robs us of a chance to just keep moving forward. In my mind, there are different kinds of things that get labeled as retcons. There are things that are honestly just filling in holes with information we didn't have, and sometimes those holes can recontextualize things. That's where things like, oh, this person's actually related to this person in some way kind of thing ends up feeling, at least to me. For me, a proper retcon isn't just an additional piece of information. It actively undoes something. It takes something that was, here's a thing that happened, and actively makes it, no, it is a completely different thing now. So that covers, your people coming back from the dead who were clearly, at the time, presented as having died. Anything, well, you would think, with time travel so quartered, you would think Doctor Who would be rife with retcons. It really isn't. Really, only Big Finish seems to indulge much in retconning, and even that tends to usually be more explaining things that don't quite fit into the lore as we understand them. Things like the whole, is the Doctor half human question from the TV movie that Paul McGann was in. But Big Finish is a good medium to do that, and because it's a medium that is only indulged in by the hardcore fans, the kind of people who care about that. For the TV show to eat up time, and rather than doing new stories and giving us new adventures, to waste an episode, 2 episodes, God, a series, who knows, undoing something that someone else did, what a waste of time. Just move forward. For me, 9 times out of 10, the better solution than a retcon is just to not talk about the thing you don't want to deal with. Just don't bring it up. Ignore it. Now, is that to say that there's never a time to use a retcon? No, there are. In my mind, the reason to use a retcon, and I'm not going to cite specific examples, I'm just going to give you my broad philosophical thought. The reason to retcon something that I will accept is if the existence of the thing that you need to undo has pigeonholed your storytelling ability. And exactly how that looks is going to vary a lot from show to show, story to story, medium to medium. But if there is something that is in place that is canon, that is severely crippling your ability to tell stories in the way you want to, maybe a retcon is necessary. Even then, I would think most of the time it's probably not. So, like, for example, there was a period of time on Doctor Who where they felt the sonic screwdriver was solving too many problems. So they just got rid of the sonic screwdriver. They didn't retcon it that the sonic screwdriver couldn't do a bunch of stuff we'd already seen it doing. They just got rid of the darn thing. or with the regeneration limit. So in the time of the Doctor, Matt Smith is in his final regeneration. He accounts for all the regenerations. He is going to die, and it's going to be final because 13 lives has been canon in Doctor Who for a long time. And one way to fix that, in theory, would have been to retcon it to no, actually, it isn't that. But that's so embedded in so much of Doctor Who. No, they just gave him a whole new regeneration cycle. Most of the time, it is better to either ignore it or to add something that counteracts it rather than wasting the time to do a convoluted story to remove something. With retcons, theoretically, you put the cat back in the bag. But honestly, it's way more work than it's worth. I don't know what Chibnall's going to do with the Timeless Child. I don't have a lot of hope for it because I hate it on the conceptual level. But he's going to do whatever he's going to do. And then after he's done with it, whatever showrunner comes after, just ignore it. Or honestly, if Chibnall stays on, once he's done his main story that he wants to do with this, if he does more series after that, fine. I hope he doesn't keep bringing it up. Get whatever it is you thought you needed to do this in order to get, and then let's all just move on with our lives. Retconning is picking at an old wound. I would rather let the damn thing heal over. So, there's my rambly thoughts on why, as much as I hate the Timeless Child, I don't want it retconned. What are your thoughts on this? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Usual stuff to do. You know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. I have a Patreon. And you can go there to support me, keep this whole thing going. This is, in fact, my living. And if you've ever wondered how I'm able to ramble my way through these, well, caffeine certainly helps. So maybe consider checking out this video's sponsor, Zest Tea. Available in canned sparkling teas, bag teas, loose teas, and CBD products. More caffeine than a cup of coffee. Helps your mouth keep up with your brain. Maybe. I don't know. Did anything that I say make sense? Who knows? In any case, you can use the coupon code Nathaniel at checkout to get free shipping on your order. So, give that a shot. Check my stuff out. Comments, all those things that I mentioned. Go for it! Or don't. You don't have to. Because end of the day, you're the council. I just run the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.